Hey guys, this is Joe from Analog Archive. Today's video is going to be me jumping on the thread that was started by the Jazz Bums, which was to show a record from the big four jazz labels, so Blue Note, Prestige, Riverside, and Impulse, along with a record from a fifth label that you really enjoy. I was actually turned on to the Jazz Bums from Andy from Next Play Records when he had done his video for this thread last week. I've started kind of watching some of their content. Three really great, knowledgeable guys that just talk about jazz and different jazz topics. So definitely check out their channel. Great content and a really great thread idea. So we'll get started. For each of them, I kind of chose a record from the label that I haven't really talked a lot about, but also ones that you really don't see a lot kind of shown in the vinyl community. So first one for Blue Note was Hank Mobley Quintet. This is Blue Note 1550. This was a very early Hank Mobley session that I picked up a few years ago, right around the start of the pandemic. The lineup, this is dating back to like maybe 1957, has a lot of like kind of older players that did progress into the 60s and continue to have success, but it's definitely an older lineup. You've got Art Farmer on trumpet, Hank Mobley's on tenor sax, Horace Silver piano, Doug Watkins bass, Art Blakey on the drums. So as I said, definitely a great lineup, very successful players. I think Doug Watkins unfortunately actually passed away around like 1960, and so he was definitely a big bassist in the 50s, but again, a very interesting lineup. Some of them are some jazz messengers, Hank Mobley, Horace Silver, obviously Art Blakey, and then you've got Art Farmer, who was definitely heating up around this time in the late 50s. So a really excellent one. This is a UA mono press from the early 70s. Probably the easiest way to get it would be that pressing, even though it is a little bit pricey. This definitely could use a repress and a really nice reissue of that. For Prestige, this is Doing the Thing, Ronnie Matthews with Freddie Hubbard. This is on the blue Trident Prestige label. Just a great mid-60s session. Ronnie Matthews piano, Freddie Hubbard trumpet, Charles Davis on baritone sax, Eddie Kahn on bass, and Albert Heath on the drums. Pretty straight ahead, hard bop session. Ronnie Matthews is absolutely unbelievable on this. This was recorded around the same time that Freddie Hubbard's 1964 album Breaking Point was recorded, which also included Ronnie Matthews with Freddie Hubbard. That's probably how the two, or that's probably how Freddie Hubbard ended up on this, but a really great one. Was turned on to this maybe like last year and just so happened to have found this on a trip to Rochester, but a great one if you ever do see it. Doing the Thing, Ronnie Matthews. For Riverside, this is from a few years ago as well. This is Johnny Griffin's Sextet. This has got a really loaded lineup. You've got Donald Byrd trumpet, Johnny Griffin tenor sax, Pepper Adams baritone sax, Kenny Drew piano, Wilbur Ware bass, and Philly Joe Jones on the drums. This is from 1958. This is on the blue Deep Groove Riverside label. This is mono. Just a really great, somewhat blowing type session. Around this time, Johnny Griffin had recorded a few albums. I think it actually might have been, well, it was probably around this 57, 58 time. He recorded a few for Blue Note that were definitely blowing sessions, and this somewhat fits into it, a little bit larger of a lineup, but an excellent one on Riverside. This next one is one of my favorites on Impulse. Obviously, a lot of people are probably going to choose Coltrane albums, but I tried to kind of stay away from that and just show another great one, Artistry of Freddie Hubbard. Picked this up a few months ago. I actually showed this in a video maybe a few months ago as well. I wish this was an original, but it's not. It's from around like 62. very early A27 for Impulse. This has a great lineup on it as well. You've got Curtis Fuller, trombone, Tommy Flanagan, piano, a rare appearance of John Gilmore, who was playing with Sun Ra around this time, and then continued with him well into the 70s, maybe even into the 80s. Art Davis on the bass and Lewis Hayes on the drums, along with obviously Freddie Hubbard on the trumpet. This is one of the most dialed in Freddie Hubbard sessions that I've heard. Around this time, he had done like Open Sesame, Ready for Freddie, and those fit definitely into this as well. Same kind of environment, but this is an excellent one if you ever see it. This is maybe a mid-70s, I think it's like 74, pressing on the black Impulse label, the neon label, but a great one if you ever do see it. Don't hesitate for that. The last one, the fifth label that I chose was Black Jazz, and one I decided to showcase was Henry Franklin, the Skipper. Picked this one up at the beginning of the year. This is one of the most iconic Black Jazz releases of the like 20 or 21 releases that they had. The players on it, you've got players that featured on quite a few of the Black Jazz titles. Obviously, Henry Franklin's on the bass, Bill Henderson's on the piano, Charles Owens on the tenor and soprano sax. He played with Henry Franklin on quite a few albums. And then you've got some players like Oscar Brashear. I've heard that name before on the trumpet, but I think this is the only session I have of him. Mike Carvin's on the drums. Kenny Climax is on the guitar, and Fred Lito and Tip Jones are both on percussion. So a great lineup, a really excellent one. These were all repressed in the last year or so, part of the Real Gone Music reissued label. So these are definitely affordable for like $25. If you ever see them, really great one to pick up, along with really most of the catalog. There's really not many duds in the Black Jazz catalog. So that was the fifth record label of choice. So if you enjoyed it, please think about liking and subscribing. Again, please go over and check out the Jazz Bums YouTube channel. It's a great, again, collaboration of the three guys. Very knowledgeable, great videos, definitely worth checking out. Thank you again for putting together this thread. Really interesting and a great one to kind of pick out some highlights of the real big jazz labels. Again, please think about liking and subscribing, and I will see you in the next vinyl video. Bye.